What's up, everybody? This is the Media Clash podcast. I am your supposed host. We're going to go with that. Eric Knuckles. Along with me, I have Franklin Sizemore.
Listen here, you little shit!
Sure, we'll go with that. Wayne McCarthy.
What's up, Internet?
And John Bernardo.
Hello.
So this is it, man. This is we're doing this thing, and I am so sorry. This is like a oiled, greasy fire that is lit onto a mountainside of flames. So yeah. That being said, this is the Media Clash podcast. This is our first attempt, technically second attempt at our first attempt, but don't worry about that. We'll explain it in the special features later on. This is us, a bunch of guys who met on the Kind of Funny forums, which is an awesome place to be. And we were like, hey, you know what we should do? A motherfucking podcast. That's what we should do. So we decided to take our stab at it. So, John, you want to give everybody a rundown of what our concept is here, basically?
Yeah, basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about topics from movies, topics from TVs, and TV shows, video games, everything across that, maybe something that goes that connects to all of that. Sometimes it's all separate. Either way, 3 topics to the table. Sometimes a 4th random one. We'll see. Tonight we're going to be doing 3. We're going to start off the boat. We're going to be starting off with movies, reboots and remakes. Which ones do you know that have been done?
You said the R word.
Yeah. Which ones have been done right? Which ones have been done wrong? What makes a reboot, remake good, and what makes it bad? Wayne, you want to start us off with this one?
I think there haven't been many really good remakes or reboots that I know of. I mean, really everything's a derivative work of something else, whether it's a book or a TV show or something. But I mean, I think what really makes a good remake or reboot, you have to stick close to the source material, because you have to capture what made that original work interesting to people. If you make a remake of a beloved property and no one gives a crap about your remake, then you missed out on something.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that I think remakes, I think they can be done right. I think that reboots are probably the better way to go, if only just because you can have your, oh, well, this is our version of this, and, you know, our retelling or whatever. Because, you know, when you do a remake, it's so hard, because if, you know, for one, like what Wayne was kind of getting at, is if you're doing a remake, it's because this was a beloved property and people enjoyed this thing. It's like most of them may really not want you to fuck with that. And also, why do you need to? You know, I mean, if it had that success and it was so great, then, you know, you're not going to be able to reignite that first experience of it. You know, one of my favorite games of all time is BioShock, and that going to Rapture the first time is amazing. And I replay that game like once a year, but it's still, and I love it, but it's still, it's like you're never going to recapture that very first feeling. And so I don't think that remakes are really the best way to go. I mean, maybe marketing wise, you know, you can make an easy dime, just because you can crap out a cheap movie, but hey, it's attached to this thing that used to be awesome, so you make a lot of money. But reboots, I think, I tend to enjoy reboots almost, you know, almost universally, whereas a remake is just kind of.
Well, I was when they did the Transformers. This is the one I always you know, I always call out, because I was a big Transformers fan when I was a youngster. When I was young, I actually saw Transformers when it came out in 1984. I was old enough. So,
how old were you in 1984?
4 years old. 4.
You remember 4 years old?
I remember the actual day of going to see the animated movie in the theater. My parents lied to me.
I remember yesterday.
Something else.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's hard enough to remember just this week.
But so yeah, like, Transformers always stuck with me, and when they did the new live-action movies, they sold it as, like, it's going to be the cartoon, it's going to be the original Generation 1, you know, just live-action. And then Michael Bay lied to all of us, and we got, like, big, giant bug robots and that horrible crap.
Racist robots.
And the Inception music, just
and it's made a buttload of money because people go see it. I've not paid to see one since the first one. I went and saw that first one when it came out, and I haven't paid to see one.
I was the same. And the thing was, I actually really enjoyed the second one, and then the third one, I was like, I still haven't seen it because I was just like, I don't care.
I definitely haven't seen the fourth one. Well, I saw
Mark. Oh yeah, I totally forgot there was a fourth one. Oh my gosh.
They're gonna make a whole.
That's right. The Trans Wahlberg. I forgot about that one.
They're making a whole cinematic universe out of Transformers. They have like 3 more movies planned after this and whatever else.
Honestly, this is getting off topic, but honestly, what I think that they're totally missing out on is if they did a freaking prequel where it was all CG, whatever, make it look awesome. Just give me Cybertron. Just put it on Cybertron and just. Like, you remember the, Transformers War for Cybertron video game? Like, that was the best Transformers game that they made because it was totally in that universe. It's not hard to suspend, disbelief when everything looks like that. But then, when you have all this crazy stuff going on, and then there's this one teenage kid who's just like, beelining it through the city as it's falling apart. I'm like, why are you even there? You're literally not contributing to anything. So...
Well, that's what the original cartoons, the human characters were ancillary. Like, there were humans in the cartoon and in the stories, but they weren't the main focus. All the robots.
Nobody cared.
Like, they were background characters. They were the extras. They were the bit players, like the recurring characters, but they weren't never like main focuses really.
So if Transformers is doing it wrong, what and I'm trying to think, what would you guys? Do you guys have any ideas of one that would be doing it right? I'm trying to.
You see, I don't really mind the Spider-Man reboots. They're fine. They're okay.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Reboots are
just
fine.
Too many of them.
But a remake is different. That's what I'm saying.
Remake, you have to keep it the way it is. You have to make it scene for scene, or you might as well.
Oh my god! Do you guys remember the? I love Hitchcock films. The original Psycho in 1960, so good. It was one of my favorite.
Reboot of the remake of Psycho.
Yeah, with Vince Vaughn. And then this was before he got into his big comedic career and stuff. Before that really took off. But I'm just like, it's directed by Gus Van Sant, and he literally did a shot-by-shot remake. On purpose, which I totally respect that. It's cool, but why? Like, why would you even do that? Because the original is perfect. It's in the top 100 best movies of all time, rated by AFI.
I think it's to bring the attention to the more modern crowd too, because some newer people haven't heard of it, so they need to bring to their attention because these people aren't going to watch old movies because they don't care about it.
Yeah, but those people are stupid, and so they don't deserve to experience them.
But the stupid people pay.
Yeah, this is true. But I don't know. But in that case, why wouldn't you just go ahead and take some liberties with it and just make it unique and different? Like, make it modern. Aside from they made it current as far as like time. In fact, maybe they didn't. I want to say maybe it took place in the 80s, which is just weird. But I don't know. Either way, it was bad. It was so bad.
But a lot of these things they can't translate to modern settings because modern settings would nullify the story.
This is true because then you got a cell phone. Oh, what are you doing? Call blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why there are no good horror movies anymore. There's just not.
Exactly.
In my opinion, the last great horror suspense whatever was the first Saw movie.
Yeah, that was really good, and then it went downhill really fast.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, this makes money. Let's make 17 of them.
You just have to watch them all as one long story. You cannot watch the Saw movies as individual movies, because then they don't make sense and they're not good. But if you look at them all as one long story that's just way too long, then it's a decent story.
If you look at it like a massive giant buffet that never ends.
And it's like...
Well, it just felt like...
It's the whole kind of... If you have to look at the Saw series, even the Paranormal Activity series, like you would do like these Netflix or Amazon original shows that people binge watch.
That's true. I could see that.
Like, instead of an hour episode, you have like these hour and 45-minute episodes that try and be self-contained. Where Saw really didn't try and be self-contained.
Yeah, but I get that, and it now where they're all out, I could totally see that. But I mean, when you're making the movie, and then people are spending $25, hell, almost $40 if you're on a date, to go see this movie, and hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, and then you get something that has a massive cliffhanger, doesn't have any real resolve, and then it's like, all right, cool, that will be to be continued. It's not a week later, it's not 2 weeks later, it's like 2 to 3 years later, or even if it's a fast turnaround, a year later, and that's just like that's a long time for somebody to supposed to care about that. But I can see what you're saying as far as lining them up and watching them as a marathon and stuff. Yeah.
I think where it failed too is that it made it seem like when you watch the next one, it kind of seemed like they shoehorned the details in because, like you said, you haven't seen it in a while, right? So it seemed that.
So you're like having a movie version of Previously On.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, oh crap, we need to make this fit in here, so let's just add some story details. Even though maybe they had the whole story planned out, maybe they didn't, but sometimes it could feel like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll be honest, I loved the first one. I watched the second one. It was pretty like, didn't care. And then I haven't watched any of them since then. So the rest of them could be far, far better, and I would never know.
I think so. I think just remakes is just a way for.
Hello?
Whereas reboots is, I'm going to take this idea and I'm going to try to make it my own. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like the infamously known Ghostbusters reboot. I don't know what it's going to be good or not. Might be good, might be bad, but that's something that a lot of people uproar about. But at least that guy is doing something, like he's taking the property and he's actually doing something fresh rather than making it shot for shot. So you got to give him credit for that. Yeah,
and that's why I'm saying I think reboots are way more interesting to me, even if they're bad. I totally can get behind and get way easierly. We're gonna go with that. That's a word, damn it.
Put it in Wikipedia.
It's way easier. It's way easier. I'm editing it now because this is how I type, like Dexter. And every now and then I kiss the spaceboard.
Spacebar.
Thank you, that one. Reboots just because of the fact of it could totally suck, but at least you don't know what's coming, or at least you don't know the entirety of what's coming. So yeah.
A remake, like the Total Recall remake. I enjoyed it because it was more in line with the original story that was written. You were never gonna recreate Arnold Schwarzenegger in another movie. It just wasn't.
You're not gonna have Colin Farrell doing an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression.
Yeah, and if you watch the Terminator Genesis movie, you can tell that Arnold Schwarzenegger can actually not redo Arnold Schwarzenegger in an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Fun fact:
I never watched it.
Movie was filmed
I haven't either.
5 minutes from here.
Really?
Yes, it was filmed like right across the street from the theater my wife runs. It's like 5 minutes from my house.
You said like right near here. Where are you? Because I don't even know.
I am right outside of New Orleans.
Oh, okay. Yep. That's why your Instagram thing or whatever was NOLA thing.
Yeah.
Doogie.
Nolans.
Nolans. I definitely think that remakes with sci-fi movies and or fantasy movies way easier to. Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me. It's way easier and that's a better excuse, to be like, oh, we're going to update this. We're going to bring the special effects up to par. Unless you're George Lucas, you just make it so much worse. But I mean, with sci-fi or with fantasy, that makes more sense. But I mean, like to use the Psycho example again, that's a movie that has no special effects. I mean, it's story and acting and real drama. The initial reason. I mean, I love genre movies. I love special effects, all this other stuff. But I mean, really, the first thing you fall in love with when you see a movie is going to be the acting. It's going to be the story. Whenever that grabs you from being a kid or whatever. Even for me, I think it was probably the first Star Wars, Episode 4 Star Wars when I was a kid, and obviously that has special effects and all this other stuff. But I mean, that's not what that movie was relying on. It has great acting and great storytelling.
What do you think, Franklin? Yeah, shirtless man there. You're not really giving us much feedback on your thoughts here.
Well, you see, the thing is, movies, I'm really not interested in like remakes at all because I'll just watch the original and I'll know what that is, and I know that any remake, it's just it's not really worth it to me because I've already seen that story. I've already seen it played out. It doesn't help for it to be modernized to me. For example, recently, I'm not sure if it was a remake or a reboot. They did The Evil Dead the other year.
Yeah, that one was. I think they consider that a reboot because they didn't really have any connection to it. That one was more of a true horror, whereas the original Evil Dead ended up being more of a B horror movie.
I didn't like that though because I don't know. It just didn't have the charm of the old Evil Dead to me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I agree. It wasn't what made the original Evil Dead Evil Dead. Don't get me wrong. To be honest, like I loved it as.
Is anybody else freezing up? Or is
job,
that just
but it
John's
wasn't-
feed?
No, everyone's feed is gonna freeze up. It happened to me a few times.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, yeah. I thought the Evil Dead reboot was good. It wasn't an Evil Dead movie, but it was a good like as a horror movie. But yeah, it's not even anywhere close to the actual Evil Dead, which you should probably watch Ash vs. Evil Dead Saturdays at 10 on Stars.
See, I really want to watch that. But that being said, man, I wish it was on Netflix. I'm getting so spoiled with Netflix stuff where it's just like, all right, here's this show, and I can just watch the entire season. I'm just like, it's so great because there's an anime on Netflix right now that they brought over as a Netflix original, and they just did the entire season, which was like 22, 24 episodes or whatever. And it's something that if I was watching week by week, I definitely would not have stuck with. But it was a thing of like, you know, you reach the end, you're like, okay, cool, I can go ahead and skip to the next one and watch it. It was like really, really good and really entertaining. I liked it a lot. Seven Deadly Sins, you should check it out.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because you know what our next topic is, right?
Segue.
What makes a TV show binge-worthy?
When I say segue, I want to have a graphic come out of like one of those like the Paul Blart things where it's like because
If there's anybody that can do that, go ahead.
they're called segues. That's why that's funny.
I'll get on.
We got it.
That can be done.
You know a joke is very funny when you have to explain to people why it was supposed to be funny.
Then they'll get it even more.
Exactly. Totally doesn't make it terrible. Hey. This
So yes, what makes this TV show binge-worthy to you guys? You know, we have all these shows on Netflix where we start one episode and we don't go to sleep until we finish it. So what is it about these shows, these Netflix shows, that has started this binge trend? On you know, you have to. After episode 1, you're like, oh, I gotta stay up until 4 in the morning until I'm done this season. I'll have nothing else after this, but I gotta finish it. Like, what is the last thing you binge watched on Netflix, or in general?
That the guy from Parks and Recreation's new show on Netflix, Masters.
Sorry.
Yes, him. His show Masters of None on Netflix. This is the last thing I binge watched. It was really funny. And I think what makes us binge watch shows is the same thing that makes us play, you know, these 100, 200-hour video games. If you get into the story and you find something about it that you like, you're just gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
What would have been the last show that you could like? So that was the last show that you've binged watched. But what was the show that that was the binge-worthy moment, like the first time, or maybe the first time you've experienced binge watching, and you had to binge on this one until it was done? It didn't have to be a Netflix show; it could be any show that you kind of plowed right through.
Oh, for me, that's so easy. They kind of all happened at the same time, so it's going to be 3 shows. Firefly, because I never heard of it, and my wife, when we were dating at the time, introduced me to it, and so we just plowed through and then watched the movie. And then same thing with Supernatural. She got me hooked on that, and the first 2 seasons were out, and so we just, you know, we would have a test the next day because we were in college at like 8 in the morning, and we would stay up till like 3:45 watching episodes of stuff. And then by far one of my absolute favorites, Chuck. It was about to start its last season, and I just went and like I stuttered because I was trying to say, like, do I want to say torrented? Do I want to say that I went and I pirated this stuff?
You can say that.
Because NBC was like, screw you, we don't want to show these on TV, much less on our website. And so I went and I downloaded the first 4 seasons. 4 seasons, and just like plowed through those. I was like into the third season in like 4 or 5 days or something like that, and I was telling my wife about it because she wasn't watching it, and I was halfway into the third season during the first week, and then I got her to sit down and watch the pilot, and she really liked it, and so I just jumped right back and then watched that same first 3 seasons with her, like in the next 5 consecutive days, so we could get caught up to where I was.
That your story actually reminds me of my first binge experience, which was before Netflix. They were just starting the final season, and I were into it.
Final season of what?
Lost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I decided to get into it, and season 6 started the day that I started season 1, and I caught up to episode 6 live. And then from there on, I watched the rest of it live. So five seasons and a beginning of season 6 in a span of about 6 weeks.
Wow.
I actually bought them all on Blu-ray one by one, and I bought the first 2, watched them all, went back to the store, watched them all, got the last one, watched them all, and then when they released the big Island box set, I sold all my Blu-rays and bought the Island box set.
Wow, nice.
And then I sold that. all that work, and then I sold it.
Actually, yeah, this is funny. My wife was just telling me she met this girl. She took my daughter to this gymnastics thing, and she met this teenager there that had some Supernatural jewelry on. And my wife's favorite show of all time is Supernatural, easily. And so, anyways, they are in their 10th season right now. And they've already been renewed for season 11. So anyways, she's asking this girl of like, yeah, when did you start watching? She's like, oh, I started watching this past summer. I was like, that's 10 seasons. That's 10 seasons since June at the earliest. And I know it's November right now, but I'm sorry. I challenge anybody. Find the time. I don't care if you're a single dude in college. Find the time to watch 10 seasons in like that amount of time. Whew,
Isn't it like 22 episodes per season, give or take?
24, except for season 3 because it's a writer's strike. They had like 18 or 19.
I thought about watching it, but I'm kind of daunted by the task of 10 seasons. Not to mention, I feel like a show like that after 10 seasons, isn't it running out of steam?
Oh God, no. In fact, it's actually gotten so much better. It is. If you ever sit down and watch it, seasons 1 through 5 are amazing. They're really great. Because when they were going to do the show, they planned it for 5 seasons, and then the creator of the show, Eric Kripke, had already started writing Revolution for NBC and all this other stuff. So he wrote his finale and all this other stuff, and he left after the 5th season. And so 6 and 7 very much so kind of go into a little bit of a lull because of how amazing the and I don't want to spoil it for anything. How great the climax was in season 5, and that payoff was amazing. And so it's really hard to top that. Now that being said, 6 and 7 have some of the greatest standalone episodes, like Monster of the Week stuff, if you will. But starting in 8 and then definitely in 9, it really just started getting. They had one of the older showrunners come back, Jeremy Carver, who actually did the U.S. version of Being Human, seasons 1 and 2, which are amazing. It came back and it took off, and it was super, super great. In fact, it has better ratings now. It has the best ratings since season 5 now. I mean, it's actually stronger this year than it was last year. It's like year over year, it's better and better and better at this point. And the thing is, because of the fact that it's such a genre show, because it deals with the supernatural, there's so many different places you can go with it. That they have, and this isn't spoiling anything, they have a Groundhog's Day episode. They have a Back to the Future episode. They actually have a couple of those where they go back to like 1950s. They have one where they go back to the Old West. They have one where they've gone into the future. They have one with alternate histories. They have ones with giant golems killing witchcraft, necromancy, zombie Nazis. They have like vampires and ghouls and all the normal token stuff, and they have demigods, and there's this is going to sound so ridiculous, but that's what's great about it.
Keep it to my list already.
There's an episode where they're at a mythological auction house where they're auctioning off Thor's hammer.
Oh God damn.
Yeah. It's just it's a
I'm just
fantastic
gonna
show.
start. You guys keep finishing the episode. You finish this episode. I'm gonna start watching this right now.
And it has some of the best use of licensed music, especially in the first 2-3 seasons. On Netflix, I don't think they have the licensed music after season 3 or something like that. But I mean, the opening episode, they have AC/DC, Back in Black. They have I think Enter Sandman by Metallica. Like episode 4 of season 1, they have Paranoid by Black Sabbath. They have Bad Company by Bad Company. So I mean, it's I can't say enough about it. I like it's one of my favorite shows.
I think that's definitely going to be on the list once I finish Doctor Who.
Oh, now that is my favorite show of all time. Don't even get me started, because me and you, man, time travel bros. Which
Give me a time
technically
travel
we could technically actually be the
You guys
exact
are
same
gonna be
person,
on this.
but just saying, because that's how time
Different
travel works.
universes, different worlds.
Yeah, I'm in the universe of
Franklin, you got any binge-worthy TV shows?
All right,
You got?
So I've only ever really binge watched 2 shows in my life. One of them was very recent.
Debbie Does Dallas.
No, actually these are both kind of recent. They were within this year. I watched Daredevil, start to finish.
Yes.
How is that? Because I watched the first episode, I loved it, and then I haven't gone back to it because I got busy with other stuff. Is it good?
Oh, it's good. I liked it all the way through. But the other show was Parks and Recreation. I saw that on Netflix, like the first 6 seasons, with the final season coming out early this year.
I haven't seen any of that, by the way, so don't.
I
No spoilers.
started that show in December of last year, and then caught up all 6 seasons to when it started. I believe in mid-January, the final season.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's impressive. Wow.
I don't know. It was just something about all the characters, the humor that really got me, and I don't know. It was at a time where the new generation systems didn't have excellent games on them, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch some fucking TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about. I haven't really binged Parks and Rec too much, but I have watched it here and there, and I've debated binging it. I just haven't had the time to. But Daredevil definitely is a strong one, and Jessica Jones coming up
I'm so
Friday.
excited about that. So excited about
Yeah,
that. David Tennant is the villain. That right there has me.
That's supposed to be a good one.
I think it was back like almost this time last year, maybe back January or something earlier this year. I went through the first, let's say, like 3 or 4 seasons of Scrubs, just because I caught an episode here and there on Comedy Central back in the day, but nothing sequential. And so started watching that, and it's just that I love that show so much. And then also me and my wife started going through light binge because we only went through the first 2 seasons over the span of like a month or so, but we would do like 3 or 4 episodes a night, like 2 or 3 times a week of MASH, which is actually fantastic. I never watched it when I was a kid. They had reruns all the time, and I was just like, oh, this looks like, if it was black and white, I'd be all about it. But I was like, oh no, this is crappy 70s. Well, it's so good. MASH is a fantastic show. It's without MASH, Scrubs would not exist, and everything great about Scrubs is because MASH did it first.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that just like
I'm not taking anything away from Scrubs because I love that show.
Yeah, it's just like with animation where Simpsons did everything first. There's always that show that did it first, and everybody after it copies it, right?
Yeah. That being said, though, we're all talking about the stuff that we have been binge watching, but I don't think any of us have really tried to get to that answer of like what makes it binge worthy. And I guess if I had to take a stab at anything, I guess it's the serialized aspect of it. I mean, like Wayne was saying that it has to be something that grabs you, like in a 150-hour game. It's got that hook, right, that keeps you coming back and stuff. And I think it's that serialized shows like that, if done well, it's like crack, Whereas, movies, you have so little time to try and build up relationships and stuff, and to get the payoff to actually have that deep connection. Whereas like with these shows, you can and they're doing so good at it now because they have fantastic writers of giving you a slow burn, but it's still really entertaining week to week to week. But it's so well it's interwoven so well into an overarching story that it's like you have your standalone episodes that are great, but then you have the small intricacies of how they tie in with an entire season to where when you get to the end, you're just like, oh my god, And so when you have it all there at your disposal, it's really hard to just not be like, God, I just want to know, and just fucking just go, 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 go.
I think also which is what a lot of TV shows are doing, is just like those cliffhanger endings. So when you watch something on TV, like I watched Leftovers this Sunday. I don't know if anyone watches Leftovers, but they left it. It was a big cliffhanger ending. So anytime you have a cliffhanger ending, it's just like if you have the next episode available, you're like, I gotta fucking watch it. I don't care. I'm gonna watch it.
Whereas if it's not, if you're going week to week, it's like, oh, you might be interested, but I mean, something might come up in between. Like, oh, I'll go back to it, and we all know, whether it's TV shows or video games, backlogs are a bane of everyone's existence. But when you don't have it immediately available, sometimes I think that cliffhanger can kind of be the worst thing possible, because you're like, oh God, I don't know what's going to happen, and you might even get like with Game of Thrones. I binge watched the first season, got caught up, and the season 2 started. I watched the first episode of season 2 and was like, oh my God, I'm going to wait until season 2's done so I can watch it all at once, because it was so stressful. I was just like, week to week, I would just be so like pent up. I was just like, oh my God, I can't take this. Where it's like, I didn't want to have to deal with it. I'll wait. And then honestly, it got to where I was like, oh, well, I'll just wait until season 3 starts so I can binge watch 2 and start 3. 3 got there, and I was like, because I wasn't missing anything because I wasn't watching, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait until the entire thing is done, and then I can just watch it all at once. So I have not, no spoilers, I have not seen anything past the first episode of season 2 of Game of Thrones.
Oh my God, I could
and I've
ruin
not read
so
the books.
much for you. I could ruin so much for you.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're sitting there going like, God, I wish I was him. I know there's something big and important about something called a red wedding, something like that, and I know a mountain dies, a mountain kills a viper or something, and something like that, and Arya's all super badass, and it's wrong that she's really kind of sort of hot at that age. It's weird. I don't.
Whoa!
I'm sorry. She's how old is she anyway? I mean, how?
She's young, bro.
Now.
She 15? I mean, how old is 15 really? Kids are mature nowadays. I'm just kidding. I have no idea how old she is, but she's a very cute girl.
Cops are raiding your house right now.
It's that yes, they are.
See, there's
like she's going to be super attractive when she gets older.
There's the Alabama native. Here's the person who just happens to live there.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's okay. It's not weird because she's my cousin.
No, you don't get it. You don't get it related. No, but like I'm surprised you've avoided the internet this long on the spoilers. I'm surprised it hasn't slapped you yet.
It probably has, and I was so oblivious to everything that I didn't know what anything meant, or is like just okay, and then like however many weeks later, just totally forgot about it. So when I do sit down, I doubt I'm going to remember any of that.
I mean, really, if you haven't read the books, then you are so far away from spoilers. It's crazy. Like, I did not watch the last season of it. I refuse to watch the last season of it. I'm not going to watch next seasons at all because I don't want the books ruined for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they've already caught up to the books.
Okay, I was about to ask. I was like, is it going downhill, or are you giving up on it? So okay,
I probably will, until he has done his last. I will not watch any of the seasons until he has done those books.
But they're going in a different direction. They're going to get to the same destination, but they're going in a different direction. Like, they know how the story ends. They know.
Yeah.
But they're not going to get there the same way he's going to get there.
Yeah, I'd rather the author's idea, not the showrunners after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's basically two playthroughs of a Tales game. I was gonna say Walking Dead, but a Tales game, or Tales of game. Sorry, a Tales game is like a JRPG. That's totally different.
No, Tales games are good. Speaking of games.
Games.
Segway. Oh boy, this is just getting better and better. It's fun though. It's really fun.
It's our first time. We're plowing through these topics hardcore. So
speaking of plowing, Wayne, I'm digging that pussy on your lap right there, buddy. Sorry, I had to. It was there.
Zing.
So no, my topic is so Fallout 4 just came out recently. It is fantastic, amazicals, and makes me want to touch myself. And then wash my hands before I touch my joystick. the gamepad. And so anyway, stop the mimery. Stop it. So anyways, sorry, it was just really weird because my screen swapped over from you doing the masturbation gesture to Cat rubbing on Wayne's face. It's just like one of them's just like, oh, that's not right, and the other one's like, oh, that's adorable. Jesus, God, you're gonna kill somebody, probably yourself. Right. So my topic, Fallout 4 just came out recently. It's amazing. It's great. It's super awesome. However, I got it on my PC. I got it on Steam, and my PC is a beast. It is a grown-ass man if a man were a PC, and then it would be a man and then go because that's a terrible impression of a Transformer. But anyway, it's great. That being said, I've heard that it does not run amazingly well on consoles. Wayne, you said you had it on PS4, and I'm assuming Arctic Slotherson, Mr. Slotherson, as I would call your father, you have it on PS4 or you have it on your PC?
I have it on PS4.
How does it run? How are those load times?
You see, I'm used to Bethesda games. Bethesda games are my jam. And any complaining I hear about it on the consoles, I'm thinking, wow, you're a real little bitch.
This is true. Now, here's the thing. This is the first time I've played I played Oblivion. I loved Oblivion. I played Skyrim. Absolutely adored Skyrim. I enjoyed New Vegas. I didn't play it that much because I'm more of a fantasy kind of guy. I'm loving Fallout 4 because it's not just super gray and dingy and ugly all the time, and it does have some really cool like 1950s noir-ish or 1940s noir type stuff in there, as I'm really digging. So the story's definitely grabbing me. The gameplay is great. That being said, I played everything up until now on a PS3 or a Xbox 360, and so I'm used to those massively long loading screens, which is part of the reason why it took me 3 tries before I finally got into Oblivion. And then I was like, it clicked, and I was like, God, this game's amazing. Now, that being said, because that's what I'm used to, and I was cool with it. For God's sake, I still have not played Skyrim on anything aside from a PS3, and yeah, that frustration. Until I got Fallout 4, and it's like, oh, this is so great, it makes me want to play Skyrim. So I got Skyrim on my PC and went and played that, and it literally, like I said, my PC it's a massive beast of a machine, but I mean, there's almost non-existent loading screens, and I'm just like, this is the way it was intended to be played. And so, I'm used to those things. I start playing Fallout 4 on my PC, and I'm telling you, man, everybody's saying that there's like the Bloodborne type of loading screens of like almost 60 seconds or whatever, and I don't think it's that much. It's probably like 20, 25, 30, I'm sure. But on my PC, the longest loading screen I've had is probably 10 seconds. The vast majority of like going in, out, fast travel, whatever, is like 5 seconds, maybe less. I mean, it is fantastic. So my topic, what I want to ask is, and this normally tends to happen with open world games, where you have, GTA 5, it's a beautiful game in comparison to older versions of GTA. However, you compare it to The Order, you compare it to the new Rise of the Tomb Raider, graphically, it doesn't even compare. But I mean, it's so ambitious, it's so huge, it has so much processing, it's a draw distance, everything going on at the same time, that stuff suffers. So that being said, Fallout 4 is based off the Skyrim engine, which is a last generation thing. It doesn't look bad by any means. Some of the character models are pretty unimpressive in my opinion, but it's okay because the aesthetic is great. So that being said, if Bethesda was to make the next Elder Scrolls or the next Fallout game 100% exclusively for PC, you have to know that graphically it would be way superior to what it looks like now, and you would still have an increase in performance as well. So they're not going to do that because everybody remembers the resolution gate back with Sleeping Dogs. Not Sleeping Dogs. That's a great game.
Sleeping Dogs is great. Yeah.
What's the other thingamadoogie? Thank you. I was going to say the disappointment. We all know. Watch Dogs, where it's like, oh, the PS4 version is going to be 1080, but then or 60 frames per second or whatever the hell it was going to be, and then it's like, oh, but the Xbox One version was only going to be, it's locked at 30, so then Sony's, Ubisoft is pulling it down to 30 on Sony's platform as well because this and this and this. It's like, that has to happen with this. When they could totally make it stronger on PC, But people would flip out if the PC version was just head and shoulders better, whether it's performance or graphical fidelity or whatever, than your current gen consoles and stuff, even though they're the same price and all this other garbage. But would that be better? I guess is the biggest thing I'm trying to get to. Would you rather that happen? And that this is assuming in a perfect world everybody has all these consoles or platforms or whatever. Would you rather that happen, or do you think it's okay for it to be like, okay, well, let's release it across all platforms, but kind of dumb it down to where it's equal across everything?
I don't know. I have not run into any issues on my PS4 with the game at all. Loading times, I'm not. It doesn't bother me one way or the other, really.
Have you had any issues with frame rate of that just significantly dropping?
No, I mean, and if I have, I've never actually noticed it. And I've never played any of the other Fallouts. Okay, so whatever people, they're complaining, oh, it looks like Fallout 3. To me, it's all brand new. I played Oblivion when it came out on my PS3. Was it 3? Yeah.
Yep.
And I got rid of it immediately because it made me sick. Because I played it on like a projector and just motion sickness wasn't happening.
Yeah.
I played Skyrim for about 10 hours and was like, not for me. This, there's enough to do. It holds your attention. I've always been one, like, I would rather normal, average-looking graphics than these high, high-resolution, pristine, realistic graphics. And, like,
photorealism. And...
yeah, like, I would rather more gameplay and more content than, photorealism.
Yeah. I wish Squeenix would understand that with Final Fantasy.
And that's why the current game that I'm playing right now is Paper Mario 64.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. Although, as soon as you said that, it just made me go, man, I want to play some Super Mario RPG on the SNES so bad right now. Super Mario RPG,
Paper Mario
Curse of the Seven Stars or something like that?
Yeah, something of the Seven Stars, yeah. But Paper Mario is basically the sequel to it.
Yeah.
They just couldn't make it the sequel. Yeah, they just couldn't do it because of Square.
Yeah.
Sorry, back to Fallout.
No, it's fine, and it's not even necessarily a Fallout thing. It's just more of like a development type question. Because honestly, in my opinion, I'm right there with you, Wayne. Because I wish Squeenix would understand. Like, I don't want this super linear game that's beautiful and amazing and blah blah blah. That's all this stuff that's just like not an awesome RPG, which is what you make. It's what you used to make, and now you're giving me this like color by numbers thing that took you 18 years to make, and yeah, it looks gorgeous, but I'm not going to look at it that long because it sucks. Whereas, for God's sake, you could, for infinitely less of a budget and way less time, you could do a yearly churn out of some classic retro 16-bit RPG pixel art games that would probably have super great writing and be really, really fun, and sell them for $20 a pop on a digital store and make way more money than you lost with like Final Fantasy 13 XR 72 underscore asterisk,
Final Fantasy 13 was.
You just don't have the followings of these newer Final Fantasy games that you did with the old ones either. And I think for that reason, because you're not engaged, you're not playing them for an extended period of time. You're not investing anything in these games to where you're like, you know what, that was a great experience, and I will go do that every year from now on.
Square Enix has become the George Lucas of game developers in that they were the pioneers, of this amazing genre. They had some of the best games of all time: Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy VII. These are some of the greatest games ever made. Chrono Trigger. Earthbound. No, Earthbound was not Square Enix. Sorry, I meant to say Secret of Mana. These games are incredible, and yet they got to the point where all of a sudden they stopped making these incredible games, but they look outstanding. They're just not very good. So it's the thing of like, you're putting all this production value into it, but it's not like nobody's getting to experience it because nobody's sticking with it very long. I mean, for God's sake, go back to some form of limitation, because then you're forced to go like, oh shit, this is going to take some imagination. Let's make sure we have a super awesome magic system. Let's make sure we have a really cool skill system. Let's make sure we have a really gripping story, whereas you're spending so much time in this graphical fidelity that there's no hook for gameplay. Everything feels very flat and not lived in. It's pretty, but I mean, it looks like a museum. Everything's behind glass, and I can't interact with it. It's one of the things I love about Bethesda games is because 9 times out of 10, if you see it, you can fucking go there and then open the door and walk inside. I mean, that's incredible, you know?
Just like you can shoot any NPC and whatever happens to them.
Exactly, which
Oh, wow.
can be also incredibly funny and accidental. Where I'm trying to loot something and then something comes up and I accidentally pull out a gun and shoot somebody, and I was like, oh shit, or accidentally steal something, and all the guards start running after me, and I'm just like, no, load, quick save, stop. But yeah, that's just the thing of, do you guys? I mean, I guess it's a hard question because none of you guys have played it on a PC, and I've never been a PC gamer. This is the first game that it's like has made me join the PC master race. I've fallen in love with this. Of like, holy shit, this is amazing, because I can just plug in my Xphone controller and be like, oh, yep, this is the feeling that I want. I don't have to do anything special because before Steam, I tried to get into PC gaming and I'm like, nope, drivers, nope, don't want to do. I don't understand this. No, I need a .dll. What the hell? I don't even know. No, I don't want to do that. And so, like this, I plugged in my controller. I didn't do anything. It instantly switched over to controller mode, and all the buttons were mapped correctly. And I was like, "Cool, sweet." I started doing that, and like I said, I'm used to the longer loading screens. The loading screens are almost non-existent. Everything looks beautiful. I do notice some frame rate drop in certain situations because of the fact that it is routinely running at 60 frames per second. But then some crazy stuff will be going on. Especially, I was in the something tower or whatever. So it's like, tons of enemies and stuff, plus there's windows, and you can see out to the actual city, and so it's having to process a ton of stuff. So it was running at 60 frames per second. All of a sudden, it was like I was running through a field of, like, sludging marshmallows, because it's like going down to 24 frames per second. It's just like, no, dog meat, no. But, I don't know. It's the thing of, it's so amazing. The experience that I'm having with this on PC is so amazing that I'm just like, I can't even imagine, just to the nth degree, or even if it's incremental, just something just a little bit better than this. If they were just like 100% like, all right, screw these other systems, we're gonna make it for this one thing, and we're gonna make it to where like Crysis back in the day, it's like, oh, you want to play this game? Well, then you better have a fucking beast of a machine.
Yeah, I remember when that came out. And then it came out on Xbox 360 and all that. And like, well, you guys can play it too. We're going to dumb it down a tad.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little.
Alright, well, listen here, you little shit. I have something to say about Bethesda games.
Oh, here it goes. He's held it in for this long.
Alright, so I've played everything from Daggerfall on. So, Daggerfall,
Nice.
Oblivion, Fallout 3,
Morrowind.
yeah, fucking Morrowind. That was a great game. Skyrim, now Fallout 4, and so they also
Morrowind, that's a
used
freaking novel right there.
So
because that was
Obsidian
before
also
voice
used
acting.
the same. Obsidian used the same engine that was used in Fallout 3. So what I've got to say is that it's really just their engines, and their engines aren't really built to make a beautiful game. Their engine is built to make a large, huge scale of a game with a lot of moving parts, a lot of interactable things in the world. It makes the world feel lived in. If you tried to focus it into making it a more beautiful game, I think you'd lose a little bit of that, and I'm not sure if that's really worth it. Especially if you're going to go down the route of limiting it to one
Platform.
So
Yeah, it's true. I wasn't even thinking about the technical side of it because, I mean, you're right. I mean, that engine is definitely going to be made for torque and for, load balancing and all this type of stuff of massive calculations all at once and constant, constant saving, what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. Basically, when you're playing and it's just constantly saving all the time so that everything counts and everything. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about the technical aspect of that. So yeah, you're right. Yeah. And like I was saying, it's not an ugly game. They're, in comparison to other games that are way more linear, you're not processing all that stuff. It doesn't stack up against it. But I mean, it's just, come on. I mean, for as large as that game is, it is beautiful. I mean, the character models can be a little rough, but who cares?
Yeah.
The reason we buy Bethesda games is the world. It's the universe. It's the geography and the layout and all that stuff. And that being said, the land and the buildings are just beautiful. I mean, it's a fucking gorgeous game.
Yeah, and a lot of people like to point to games like The Witcher when they say, "Well, that's a big game that doesn't run like shit." And I'm like, "Listen here, you little fuck. It's really limited. There's not nearly as much going on in that world when it comes to like interactable objects, like moving NPCs and stuff, like where you stored items in containers and shit.
Nowhere near as many rooms or buildings and
whether or not you left a door open or not when you go to re-enter that freaking building.
Yeah.
And it's
three larger areas, whereas in The Witcher you cannot walk from one side of the map to the other. You can't. You have to fast travel and load in another map. So let me ask you this. And I think you've kind of already answered it with how you care about the graphics and stuff. If you could see a massive, significant jump, not even just graphically, but also in performance and stuff, of a Bethesda game, if they did have it segmented some way like that, of you can see it, but as you're walking, you hit somewhere, and then all of a sudden, just like as you hit that area, boom, you hit a loading screen, and it pops in that section of the map. Would that be something that you would want, or something that would break the experience for you? Because to me, I think it kind of would. For me, there is just something about in Skyrim of like looking at a massive peak way off in the distance and just going, I'm going to walk there or ride my horse or whatever. And then you go there and then you turn around and you can see where you were, the town that you were, and how infinitely small it is. That's amazing to me. So I feel like that probably would kind of take the magic away,
Yeah, it would certainly break the immersion. But more importantly, I just feel like it would happen so like rarely, but there would be like a point moment where you're like chasing something across that line, or whatever. But if you wanted to segment it into areas like say Metal Gear or The Witcher, I guess that could be fine as long as it made sense. Like say you're flying on a vertibird from one area to another. Yeah. Or something. Just make it something that makes sense. And
like stuff like that, where it's like, oh, you want to go this thing? All right, cool. You get on this airship, and then it's a loading screen and all that stuff. Which I still, to this day, I hate. I hate the fact of that started happening. My favorite Final Fantasy games are the ones that have the overworld map, and you walk out of the town, and then it's a separate map, and graphically it looks different, but still, it's like it's that world. You're in it. You walk from place to place, or you get your airship and you actually fly it around, as opposed to it brings up a map and you point and click. I'm not against fast travel, but if I want to be able to fucking go.
Well, which, if you're interested in something like that and you have a Nintendo 3DS, Bravely Default does that very well.
It does amazing well. It's so funny that Square Enix published it. They didn't make it. They published it. It comes out, and it does infinitely better than they thought it would. And it's like, who'd have thunk it, Square? You release a game that people have been begging you for a decade, and it took somebody else to make it, and then you go, you guys want this? Oh, we thought you were just... Okay, cool. We're going to bring the second one, too.
But I think Square is learning their lesson as Final Fantasy 13, even though it got a sequel game, I don't think it has done as well. Two sequel games, yes. I don't think it's selling the numbers that, if you would have put out Final Fantasy 7 today, in the way it was just with comparable graphics of today, if you put out that game today, I think you would still get way more sales than you would with something like 13 or 12.
I mean, I can appreciate what they were trying to do with 12. Hey, that's cool. Do something different. It didn't work out. Whatever. I thought it still had a decent-ish story. I could tell what they were trying to do. It didn't really pay off as it got closer to the end, and then I just didn't finish it. 13 is just, to me, it was just so. It felt like just not good. It just,
It was just, battle, run, cinematic, battle, run, cinematic.
Yeah. Which can be cool if the battle is super great, and it's okay in that game, but it's not great. And maybe I'm getting to be an old fogey, but I like turn-based or action real-time turn-based. Like, I want to be able to control more than one person. I want to be able to control the team and do. I don't want to have like AI and then I'm running around like hacking and then doing this other. Like, I hate like
no, you're
setting up AI for other stuff. It's so annoying.
you're not getting old. I'm 21 and I feel the exact same way. I love turn-based or active time battle systems.
Mhm.
Those are my favorite ways to play JRPGs, and I really don't like what Square is doing with 15. It kind of makes me sick.
Yeah, and honestly, I never played it until this past June, I think, when it came out on 3DS. But Xenoblade Chronicles, my God, that is the best RPG I've played in a long
But that
time.
one's not turn-based, though, right?
No, it's not, and that's the thing. But it's a great combination. So you'll have a team of like 3 people, and you can only control one at a time. But at any point, you can essentially hit the button; it'll pause it, and you could go back and forth to people and go ahead and set this person up, go to this person, set their thing up, go to this person, set their thing up, unpause it, and they'll do that. You know, so it's a great blend, and it's just a perfect, or in my opinion, a near perfect implementation of active battle to where it's almost hack and slash, but it actually, you know, it does have your separate abilities and attacks that like the meter fills up, but it doesn't feel crappy like MMOs do a lot of times for me. I'm just like waiting for the recharge, and it's like, well, what's the point of running around? It's hard to explain, and I'd heard people rave about it on the Wii for so long, and finally playing it on the 3DS, I'm just like, this is a great game, and graphically, it is not very pretty, quote unquote. But it's a massive world, and this was originally released on the Wii. Massive open world,
Yeah.
and you can go all over the map and all this stuff, and you can jump, and so there's different traversal type stuff that you can do. You can swim. So needless to say, it is not like graphically on par as everything else that generation. It came out, I want to say, around the same time as like The Last Remnant, which is not a great RPG, but it's very pretty on PS3 and 360. But this game is just, it's very, very pretty in that the way that the world is designed, and the hills, and like these giant old mech alien creatures are like frozen, in the side of a mountain and stuff. It's a great world, and it's designed so well that it is really pretty, even though you can see all the polygonal edges, and you can see like, parts where a sword like floats through somebody's shoulder or whatever. It's like, that doesn't matter. The experience is incredible, kind of like how we were talking about Fallout, but to a larger degree because this is graphically much, much lower. But I mean, it's just so many times I would just stop playing the game on a 3DS, stop playing the game, just rotate the camera around and be like, God, this is really pretty.
If you looked at the Wii U version, from what I've seen, it looks like if you see something in the distance, you can go there.
You can. That's exactly how it is.
It looks really good for a Wii U game, but for the Wii game, the one that you're talking about that's on the 3DS, I actually want that for the Wii, and I don't really feel like spending $100 on it.
Yeah. The funny thing is, and this is after I've been playing it for probably 10 or 15 hours. There was this part I come out, and it's just a massive ravine, right? And there's just this huge, like, it looked like Niagara Falls waterfall off in the distance because it's just in a giant U shape going into this river that's going down in between, like going through this ravine. And I'm on one side, and there's this massive rope bridge for me to walk across, and I'm looking down, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so far down. And I was just like, the thing of like, oh, I know I'm gonna die, whatever. I was just like, I gotta jump. I gotta see. It's like the thing of I want to know how far I'm gonna fall before graphically it lets you go, and then it's like, oh, you're dead or whatever. Yeah, and then Sully's like, no. So anyway, I run, I jump, and I jump off, and it's just like, and then I just fell into the water, and I was like, holy shit. Like, I swim up to the shoreline, and there's creatures. I start attacking stuff, and there's a chest there. I'm like, it was awesome. I mean, I was like, I flipped out. My wife looked at me like I was crazy because I was like, oh my God. I was like flipping out about, this game that isn't graphically intensive, but the fact that they're like, we're going to make it explorable, and just like, yeah, if somebody jumps down here, let's put a fucking treasure chest down there so they can find something cool,
The 3DS version is less powerful than the Wii version, so what you're experiencing is even less than what it should be.
Yeah, exactly. Although it probably video-wise looks better because the Wii was going through like RGB or coax. Yeah, it didn't have like an HD thing. So I think it probably looks smoother, but I know as far as processing power, no, it probably isn't as up there. But I mean, it's just aside from that recommendation, if you have a 3DS, play that game. It's fantastic, so good.
I want a 3DS, but I don't have one. That's why I'm just hoping I can get a Wii copy before I mean, I'm not going to be getting the new one when it comes out, Chronicles, I believe it's called. I'm not going to be getting that.
Chronicles X. Xenoblade
Yeah.
Chronicles X. I want that so bad.
Canada is going to be $74.99. I'm not coughing that. I'm not coughing that up yet, so I'll wait until it drops.
Yeah.
And then I'll jump on that. But until then, I'd like to get the original one. But it looks like the original one's going to cost just as much.
Yeah. No, it was a rare print basically. They didn't have a whole lot of physical copies. I guess they didn't think it was going to sell as well. And the funny thing is, it took them forever to bring that game to the United States. Just because they didn't think it was going to sell well, and so they didn't want to pay for the localization and all this stuff. Even though they released a copy in the UK, so they already had English voice actors. In fact, the version that we have here, the version on 3DS, uses the English voice actor. Like, all of them have a British accent. I'm just like, what money did you not want to spend? Like,
I know it is.
But it's a great game. It's so good.
So I'd like to rein this back into the original topic of Fallout 4.
How dare you take it away from my JRPG?
Sorry.
Take it back to Western RPGs.
This is sprawled out into a topic that wasn't the original topic. But I'd just like to bring it back to Fallout 4. I was just going to go around and ask you, like, what would you like Bethesda to see do better? And I'm going to start this off. I'd like to see, like, a more compelling main story. I always feel like the main story always plays second fiddle to the rest of the game and blah, 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 what everyone else says. But I really think that if they could write a more compelling, like, story, it would, I don't know, it would just add a lot to the game.
My problem with a lot of the Bethesda stuff, I haven't played 4, but I played 3, and I played Elder Scrolls, and I played Skyrim. Especially with Fallout 3, I know it's not an FPS, I know it's an RPG, but I really didn't like the controls. It just didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel fluid to me.
No, it was broken. It was broken.
Yeah, something has always felt a little bit off with Bethesda's, especially their first-person controls. And they have first-person, they have third-person, and it's like third-person. Who plays in third-person? Because it looks hideous in their third-person.
And it just didn't feel right. That being said, Fallout 4 has fixed that. Like it feels fantastic. It's super fluid. It's great. I mean, the third person, nobody would do that. It just doesn't feel right. But in first person, if you could totally go through the entire game without using VATS if you wanted to. It's responsive. It's really, really good. They had id Software come in and do probably a ton of overhauling and stuff, because these are the guys that did Doom. These are the guys that made FPS is what they are. So yeah, Fallout 4, it's super fluid. It's great.
But if no one's using the third person, why don't we take that processing power and put it towards, like, put that time and power to fixing bugs, fixing anything else? Because if maybe they do a survey and see, are people really using third person? Do we need to be in third person? If not, like, that's extra power that doesn't need to be going towards the game.
I think they use it for some stuff, probably not for like the majority of their playthrough. But there's a lot of times where I'll just pull out just because I want to see my armor, I want to see my outfit, how my character looks, and also just to like use it as a cheap way of scanning the environment. So if you're up around a corner, you can go into third person and rotate the camera around, and you use that view to have a better area or better view of the battlefield and stuff like that. So I wouldn't want it to go away. If anything, I guess I would rather them put more effort into making that just as good as the primary, which is first person. To go on what Franklin was saying, I totally get what you're saying with the lack of the compelling main story arc. Because that was my biggest thing. I had a hard time getting into Oblivion because of that. I didn't get into Fallout 3 at all because I didn't care about that. New Vegas a little bit more, but Skyrim was just such a great game for me. But still, it doesn't have that massive compelling thing. But the thing is, I don't know if I really want that in a Bethesda game because of the fact of, we're talking about the world is the main character, and that's the thing of, because of the fact that you're not forced to do this one thing, and you just go off and you're like, oh, what the hell, what's this thing over here? And it's this side quest that is totally optional, that there's probably less than 70 or less than 40% of the people who play this game will even experience this quest, just because they're so huge, and most people don't even finish them. But there's a side quest that you'll go and do that will be like so compelling, so perfectly told. It's like really suspenseful, or it's really exciting, or it's very mysterious, and all. It's like so many great things like that it's just like it's not there because everyone's going to experience it. It's there if you went looking for it. And so I think I would like for the main story to be better, higher caliber, but I don't want that to be like, that's where we're putting all of our resources, and then, because that's when you have, the Spider-Man 2 video gamers, like, oh, this web slinging is really fun, and then every single side quest is, hey, go beat up that guy.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing with The Witcher 3, one of my favorite games this year. Main story I thought was actually, this is probably the best execution of what we're talking about, where the main story was really good. I really enjoyed it. But at any given point, if I wanted to, I could go off and do a side quest, and it was thoroughly well thought out and really, really fun. And so Fallout 4 so far has been that way for me. But the thing with Fallout that's really hard is just it's so huge, and it's so easy just to be like, cool, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to play this next part of the story for like an hour and a half. And then the next thing you know, if you've been playing for 4 hours, you haven't even started the thing that you were going to do, because on the way there you saw this thing, then you saw this thing, and then this thing, and this thing, and then it's like, where the hell am I? You bring up your map, and like you're all the way over here. You were wanting to be at point A, but that's part of the charm. That's what we love about it. So if you did have something where it felt like they were funneling you in, I don't think I would like it as much. Spend more time trying to make it better quality, I guess more compelling to want to do the main quest. But in a way, you're talking about the entire experience, give or take some small falls, is just so high. It's just spread across so much. Outside of it so far, and I've played about 17 hours into Fallout 4, which doesn't necessarily mean anything as far as completion percentage. But so far, out of everything I've played, the weakest part for me is right at the very beginning, where you're kind of spoon feeding you and all that stuff, which they have to do. But the Preston, I think, the Minuteman that you meet, is like the most terrible voice acting. It's super boring, and then it's like, oh, here's how you build your town. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I want to go explore. So as soon as that part was over, it took off, and it's just been amazing. But that's the only part that's dipped for Fallout 4 for me. But I don't know. What do you think as far as would you rather, or with everything that I said, or are you just kind of like, eh?
I just feel like there's like there are plenty of veins, but there's not enough shaft. If you know what I mean.
One way to put it.
The amount of veins is just fine. It's just fine.
I love this analogy so much.
The shaft does not have enough girth to it. It just doesn't. I don't know. Like the fact that they're selling. I feel like if they tried to sell a game like on more than just it's a huge ass game, I think if they could like have a huge story to market, because they don't have a huge story to market. They're just marketing a Bethesda Studios game, and we're trusting that. Yeah. One of these times we're going to get burned. I hope it never happens, but we're going to get burned sometime by Bethesda Studios, and it's going to be because like there's going to be no main story or something like that.
They're going to pull a Sony when they pulled out PlayStation 3. They're going to be like, everyone loves us so much, we could just poop this out real quick. And I hope it doesn't happen, but I think Fallout 4 is a step in the right direction, because the way they're going about, your main character has a voice in this, and it's not just you're staring at somebody as they're talking to you. It'll pop the camera out and do cinematic angles. Nothing super compelling, but it's there. You can tell that they're being influenced by The Witcher. They're being influenced by Mass Effect, by Dragon Age. I would love to see a step up in quality and effort by Bethesda, the same way that BioWare did between Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age
Inquisition.
Yes, thank
Inquisition.
you. Because it finally delivered on what they were trying to do. Like, oh, it's this big open blah blah blah, and it's not like I love Dragon Age 1 and 2, but I really got sick of, cool, let me go do this other story mission, blah, blah, blah. Oh, this is the exact same dungeon, but now all the places that I'm trying to go aren't there because that wall wasn't there. That was a door, and now this is here. It's like they were reusing that, which is okay. I still loved that game. It was really fun. It was a nice, dumb hack and slash, and I enjoyed the voice acting, especially because my Hawk was just a arrogant dick. The hell you say? You? No. But I think this is a step in the right direction. If Bethesda could step it up, for the love of God, if it happened with the next Elder Scrolls, I would just fart and pop a Woody at the same time.
Footy.
Yeah, Footy.
That wasn't funny at all.
If they could, it's a courtesy chuckle. if they could make that type of a jump, that would be incredible. I mean, that would be so incredible. But then again, I mean, like I said, you know, the charm of everything we like about it, would it be the same? Because in my opinion, on the flip side of that, the difference between BioShock 1 and BioShock Infinite, I love both those games. I loved Infinite, and it's so great. Oh, your person talks, it's this, and there's another character, and there's people with you, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, BioShock 1 is just such a near-perfect game for me. It's so great. You don't have hardly ever where you're looking at somebody actually talking to you. It's always through audio logs. It's always through your radio. It's always behind glass if you do see somebody. You feel super isolated. There's not a lot of hand-holding. It's really hard. You know, it's very, very different, and I think Infinite did a great job of appealing to more of a widespread audience, and I still love Infinite, and gameplay-wise, there's so many great things that it's improved upon, because let's face it, the water pipes game for hacking in the first one, oh god, that's awful. But there's still something about that where I would, hands down, I would pre-order a special edition $150, $200 if Ken Levine was like, hey, we're going to do a 100% new story in Rapture with the same type of stuff as 1, and, you know.
I just think the only qualm that I have with 4, and it kind of goes to the story thing, and I noticed it because I've started 2 separate campaigns, one where I use glitches to my advantage, and one where I'm just playing like a good person should. Like when you're in the Museum of Freedom or whatever it was, and you're talking to that Minuteman guy at first, if you don't go talk to, like, Mama, like, there's, like, details you miss that when you hear about it later on, like, make no sense. So if there was just a way to, like, highlight, oh, hey, here are some story points. If you walk out the door, you're gonna miss it, and you're gonna be confused as all hell later on. You know, I mean, they're putting in the money and the effort to do all these voices and all this story. Tell me that there's something there I should interact with, and not like, okay, we're gonna go now, we're gonna go walk, or have, you know, the fact that I am from this area 210 years ago actually, you know, have some meaning when we all get there and we start building.
As opposed to people just going, oh, 200 years old. That's strange. Never heard that before. That's cool. It seems like everybody's way too cool with that.
Yeah, like nobody's freaked out, like especially when she's asking, well, what do you think of the city now, as opposed, like, there should be a big reaction, like, we were civilized 200 years ago, you're running around with mutants. This really does suck. Yeah. And
that makes sense. Your main character should be way more weirded out. I mean, it makes more sense that, like, these people who have gone through this, they're literally, you know, all they know is, like, super mutants and all this other stuff. It makes sense that they'd be like, oh, cryogenically frozen. Okay, well, it's a Tuesday. But, like, you know, you come out and you're just like, my baby's dead, my spouse, depending on what sex you're playing as. Mine looks, I did my best. I will have to share the screenshot later, but I did my best to recreate Harley Quinn from Arkham. And so it makes sense that there's like whatever, but I feel like there should have been more of a story arc of kind of like just that freak out moment or whatever, as opposed to just like, oh shit, let me start killing these massive cockroaches, you know. But still, I mean, going on, you know, driving home that thing that I've been talking about the whole time of that's part of the charm of, like, here's this thing, is like, if you don't go talk to that person, if you're not engaged in this, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can just fucking go. You could just literally not even go to, like, you could be going through there, and then I'm sure once you get there, they'd probably have it blocked out and you'd have to stumble around and not know what you're doing, but you could skip that town and just go, I'm going to walk to Diamond City. You know, you're probably going to die, but still, if you could somehow stealth through or whatever, that's the thing. Like, you can do whatever you want. There's not that thing of, like, you hit that monster wall where it's like, oh, you hit as soon as there's a Dragon Quest game where you're not supposed to go across this bridge to this other area, but instead of blocking it off and giving you an airship later to reach there, it's open, and as soon as you take one step off of that bridge, it's like level 100 monster, boom, kills you in one hit, and so you know, okay, I'm not supposed to go there yet. They don't do that with this game. That's what it's a lived-in world. It feels video gamey, realistic. Of I can just like there could be a character that if I want to could become my companion, or it could be an NPC that helps me out later on down the road, or I could literally shoot them in the balls and kill them.
Balls gone.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that's so cool to me. Of just like it doesn't. and The Witcher 3 feels like that to a degree because there are characters that you can kill and stuff like that would be story, but just I don't think anybody else does it as well of making it feel organic and real than Bethesda. I mean, it's just and all these things that each of us separately are like, I think this would make it better and better and better and all this other stuff. I feel like it would probably take away from a lot of the reasons why we like it or love it or whatever. But yeah, so I guess we've talked about that pretty well in depth. Talked about most things. I know we've
learned that Eric is passionate about Fallout and bugs.
Yes.
Eric is the Colin of the group.
Oh dear, yeah. I do try to shut up at certain points, but there are just some where my brain's like, no, we will not be denied.
Sometimes you just gotta keep going.
Hey, if anyone's interested, Bethesda is hiring quest writers.
What?
There you go.
Probably for the next Elder Scrolls.
That excites me. Maybe somebody from BioWare will go. No, I'm just kidding. CD Projekt Red. I feel like Bethesda could learn a lot from CD Projekt Red. That would be amazing. That being said,
the one thing CD Projekt Red does extremely well that no one else does, they make ugly people.
This is true. Something else that Bethesda does well as CD Projekt Red is they end things like games and series. And that being said, we have talked at length about a lot of stuff, and it's been super, super fun. But my wife has texted me like 3 times now, just like, you know what time it is, right? I really want to reply back of like, no, I have forgot all concepts of time. I no longer know how this works. So this has been fun, guys. This has been really, really cool. Yeah. Did you guys enjoy it?
Awesome.
You guys enjoyed listening to me primarily talk for like 2/3 of this entire podcast?
That's okay.
I will do better. I promise. I want to facilitate. I don't want to run.
So wet.
I'm a fat guy. I don't do running. Oh man, that's right. I like that. All right, cool. So that being said, this has been our first attempt, second attempt, whatever. It feels like the first time, even though it's the second time of the first time. This has been fun. We should do it again, and we probably will, even if nobody listens, because right now nobody's listening. That being said, I am Eric Knuckles. My Twitter handle is @ScoobyShag, so I will probably try to actually tweet some stuff every now and then, because I normally don't, and maybe some of it will be interesting. Aside from that, guys, tell everybody where you can be found and what you do's.
My name is Wayne McCarthy. I have no Twitter because I'm an old fuddy-duddy. You can reach me or see my stuff at Instagram, Wayne_McCarthy.
Are there going to be videos of you shouting at people to get off your lawn?
Yes, that would be appropriate.
And we already saw the cat, so we already know you already have a cat. So there's going to be like 17 other cats that are off camera right now.
Yes, and there are pictures of my cats on my Instagram. It's like hilarious. So yes, great. That and EmeraldHighland.Productions for everything else.
I'm John Bernardo. Twitter @JohnnyDreamer87. That's 8 and then a 7.
I love that you're pantomiming when we're doing an audio-only podcast.
Oh, well, people will know. 87. I'm getting more into games, tweeting a lot, all that kind of crap. Follow me if you want. If you don't, I don't really care. But it'd be nice if you do, because I'm lonely up there.
All the way up there in Canada.
That's right.
All by his lonesome. Yeah, it's funny. I didn't know that Wayne was in New Orleans. Like the three of us, theoretically, very easily could just 2-3 hours or something, just be like, hey, let's meet up, let's do something, and then we'll have John on video phone.
Well, my name is Franklin Sizemore. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter @TheArcticSloth. You can find me on PSN at Frank de Pronstar. Frank D.A. Pronstar.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's just gamer tags. Let's do that.
And my Xbox Live gamer tag is the Arctic Sloth, if you're wondering.
Is that 360 or do you have an X-Bone?
I have an X-Bone.
Oh, X-Boner. I do as well. So I am lucky and creative, apparently, because I was able to universalize the lease, Uniqua. all of my stuff. So Scooby Shag is my Twitter. Scooby Shag is my gamer tag for Xbox. I have a Xbox One, and Scooby Shag is my PSN ID for PlayStation. And I don't want to change it because I love it, but if I had a crappy one, I would want to change it. So for God's sake, Shuhei, let us change our names.
Shuhei!
No better than my. I had my PSN is Duma Onion, DUMAONION. It should be Dumb Onion, but
you didn't know how to spell.
Like I thought I hit the B, but I hit the A, and before.
Oh, curses.
That's quite a bit far apart.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's what I've been stuck with since the inception of the PSN. So,
were you typing on a BlackBerry? What were you using?
I don't remember. I can't. It's been so long. I don't remember how I screwed that up. But I'm old and I have senior moments.
This must have been like before the advent of the QWERTY keyboard. This was like a keyboard that was like A to Z. Had Greek symbols on it.
Like it might have been the where you had to hit the
T9.
And it flipped through.
Oh yeah.
So
oh, man.
Yeah, that's how I ended up with that. But yeah, add me. I don't have many people on there because I don't play with people because, like I said, I'm an old fuddy-duddy. But anyway,
single player for the win.
I'm only on PS3 and Wii U. Don't have the Xbox anymore. Same thing with BattleNet. If you have Blizzard, I play Hearthstone.
Whoa, I play Hearthstone as well. We should play.
That's happening.
Yes,
that's happening. You guys can add me at Selkies24. I don't remember my number thing, but if you care enough, tweet at me and I'll tell you the rest. And that's my gamer tag for everything.
Yeah, mine's the same thing for Blizzard. It's Scooby Shag with some random number. So do that thing that he said with the tweets, and we'll figure something out. And I will destroy you with my badass Warlock deck. All right, cool. That has been episode uno, people. I hope you enjoyed it. And by you, I mean somebody's out there listening. This isn't just going. It probably is.
Yeah.
But I don't care. It was great. It was great. All right, cool. Thank you so much, guys. I love that Franklin just like every now and then when he talks, because it's so rare, just like, I'm going to get up on the microphone. You can find me on Xbox One. My gamer tag is Arctic Sloth because I have a giant cock.
I'm not going to deny any of this, but I not confirm.
Neither confirm nor deny. On that note, thank you so much, guys. This has been the Media Clash podcast, where we take all the nerdy shit that we care about, throw it into a giant fucking blender, and then go, hey, hit that red button. We will see you guys next time. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Later.
Say bye, Franklin.
I love you.